Yeah. I'm at Rhys Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address. And now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just fighting in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay, hey everyone. Thank you guys.
Hello.
Hey guys. Sorry for the wait over there. Again, if everything was perfect, well, it would be a perfect world. And since it's not, thank you guys for joining us and also waiting for us, of course. So hi, Adam, or Aspen. You guys will know him as Aspen Connor, Alexza here, and of course, John from Crime Scene to Courtrooms here.
Hello.
Hey, guys. So, Alexza, I know that you've been having a little bit of a rough morning because your internet was getting worked on today. So, yeah. So, Alexza was racing to try to get on as fast as she could, guys. Okay.
Like, literally, I was like screaming like a mad woman, telling them because they told me that we should finish at 2, and 2 turned into 3, and then 3 was like 4. And I was like, guys, I'm like, please, I need my internet back. But
Right.
apparently, of course, now my damn internet, it's not working, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Wow. So Alexa's on her phone at the moment, and of course, and John, thank you, of course, for joining us here today again. He's become a great friend of ours here at It's a Crime and Shame when we're not hosting in our beds. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I can see you guys, if you guys can't see it as well, John has his tattoo that he's been getting worked on. You want to hold it up a little bit, John?
Oh, yeah. It's very
wow.
sore at the moment.
Yeah. On the arm is like a tiger.
The tiger and then the samurai.
Yeah.
Japanese theme.
Yeah. So how is your arm? Is it a little
It's quite sore, actually. Yeah, considering I had my first one on my chest, which was obviously like really sore. But I think just the amount of black that he's put in it is just going over the same part over and over again.
Yeah, over and over. Yeah. I can honestly say, I don't have a tattoo myself, so I don't know. I can take pain, but I've never had a tattoo, so I don't know what type of pain that one is. To be honest,
not too bad. It's like a scratch. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm great with pain at all, but it's totally bearable. It's just like a scratch, like a dragging, scratching feeling.
Yeah.
It looks painful. I don't have a tattoo either, but it does look painful.
No, it's fine. It's fine after like 48 hours. It's like, it's no problem.
So you guys, of course, Alexza, just introduce yourself again, and of course, John, and we'll go from there. And I have just a quick video to show you guys, and then we'll move on with the live. Yeah.
Okay. So do I start now?
Yeah.
Okay. I am my official title used to be a crime and intelligence behavioral analyst. Basically, I did from profiling to data analysis. I also did crime scene. I also have done graphology and body language expert. And then I used to work I worked for about 16 years, retired now, but I do take cases as as they come.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And I just want to say this. Again, very fortunate to have Alexza. Not only has she become a great friend of ours to the channel, although Aspen and myself host It's a Crime and Shame, Alexza has been a very much of a staple of this channel as well. A lot of people love hearing your thoughts. We love hearing your thoughts, but most importantly, we love and respect who you are as a person. We're just kind of like all truthologists here, we just try to keep it real and let people have their opinions and discussions. That's a subscriber. Thank you, subscriber. And thank you, you guys, again, for all the subscribing that's been going on, especially from across the pond. Is that you trying to, okay. That's Alexza trying to connect from her internet. That's why she disappeared there, because she's trying to get on through her laptop there. But okay, John. And of course, John.
Yeah, so I'm John, also known as Crime Scene to Courtroom. Probably had my channel for around 3 or 4 years now, primarily focusing on the Essex murders, or the Essex Boys murders, as it's known in this country. But more recently, focusing on cases stateside, Idaho 4, the Delphi murders, and clearly, more recently, the Nicola Bulley case.
Yeah. And that's the case, and that's why, again, we're doing this live today at this time. We kind of go back and forth between John's channel to this channel, but we really wanted to include, some of you guys might not know this, but my husband is, from the UK as well, so he usually gives me a little bit of crap when I say words wrong that aren't because, again, he says that you guys have the proper and that we just messed it up, the proper English language, and we just typically screwed it up. But anyways,
most likely true.
Yeah. So this case, for I know ourselves and you guys, or else you wouldn't be here, again, means a lot. It's a very mysterious case. We do realize, of course, that hopefully a coroner report will come out and maybe have some answers. But in saying that, it does make you wonder, because they've had to go back to the river wire a couple times. You just wonder about the competencies, the competency, I can't even say that word, of it all. And but I'm just gonna show a quick video before we get started, and then we'll get into the live. And of course, all that we ask you on this channel is that, well, first of all, that you hit the like button, if that's okay. That would be great. But just keep your comments classy. Just keep them, like nice to each one. Everyone has CD is tied up with the kids. He's saying that's analysis of a crime, but he'll come to listen. Okay, thank you, CD, my friend. And Alexa's trying to log back in here. Nope, it's not working, Alexza, if you can hear me. So actually, before I show you that video, let's just do some shout outs here. Sarah, thank you for becoming a member of the It's a Crime and Shame channel. It's $1.99 if anyone does want to happen to join and become a member of It's a Crime and Shame. You can join our private Facebook group. It's just kind of like a free thing inclusive with it. It is a private group on our Facebook group, because it's about it's not about the quality, it's about the quantity, or it's about the quality of the person, not the quantity of the numbers. Okay, so it's supposed to be, the group is supposed to be about people that actually care about cases, and they're not there for the drama llama, right? Drama llama. Miss Dog Lover's in the house. Miss Dog Lover, again, a great friend of It's a Crime and Shame, and she's from the UK as well. Lenny Russell, nice to see you. Drama Llama, Tony's in the house. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, and unless you guys want to take a chance at it. Do you guys have that almost looks worse than that longest name in, was it Wales or something like that? Like this name here. So we'll just say L boys. Okay. Bass Girl's in the house. There's Alexza, she's back. Rockin' Chick, thank you for joining us today. Claire, how are you? Did I already say Tony? If I didn't, Tony, I'm saying it again. Alexza, you did manage to come to the stream in this one.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, which one do you want to be on?
I can't see the other one.
Let me see. Hold on. If I take you out of here, there, I can see you twice. Well, I can see you once.
I got rid of it.
Okay, did you?
She was frozen on the other one.
Really? Because I don't even have it on. Hold on. I don't know if I can switch my the camera and show you that I don't have. I actually have the page turned off.
It's okay because we could just see you the one time anyway. I mean, it would be okay if we had two of you sitting there giving. That's okay. Hi, Steve. How are you? Dylan, nice to see you. Steve Smith, thank you for becoming a new member as well. Thank you so much. Let's see here.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that, guys. FHA, nice to see you. And I'm just trying to get through some Streamlabs. Streamlabs is always good and in the house. There's Jack. Hey, Jack. Hello from the UK. My husband, he's getting a fat burger. He says, don't judge him. Actually, you know what, you guys, my husband, like I said, he's from the UK. Tomorrow we'll be doing a live. It will, but anyways, my husband will be on the live tomorrow. It will be his 8 years since he landed here in Canada from the UK. So we were playing RuneScape, but we'll tell that story tomorrow night. Anyways, that's how we met. My gorgeous husband, love of my life. He's, like I said, I hate to be braggadocious, but he's like 32 and I'm like 53.
Is he paying you to say all this, Sonny?
Yeah, no. My husband's, he's like honestly the greatest husband ever. Honestly, I always say, husband, you're my favorite husband. He always gives me that same thing.
Great.
Anyways, he was like the Pretty Woman movie, you guys. He was like, nobody else is having you, Sonny. And I was like, that's right. Get your butt over here. Come see those Northern Lights. Hi, Caesars. Anyways, that will be tomorrow on tomorrow night's live. My husband will be joining us for his 8 year of landing here in Canada, which happened to be on Weed Day, which is 420. And boy, today, unstoppable today. We're unstoppable today. And I don't know what, let's see, Drama Llama just sponsored.
Thank you.
I was going to say, when it says just sponsored, all I'm seeing in there is just sponsored. Is that like I don't even know what that means, to be honest.
Is it a membership?
Well, that's what I was wondering, because normally it would show up before, but when it says just sponsored. So Drama Llama, if you just became a member, then thank you very much for becoming a member. And TTM Fangirl, sorry guys, but I just do like to give some shout outs because people are taking their time to come join us. So, give you some shout outs there. Essex Boys Outlaw, nice to see you as well. And there's analysis of a crime with CD. That's CD, one of our great friends here on It's a Crime and Shame. He's a former police officer. Again, another truthologist. Love it. But, obviously he has children to attend to, and this is kind of during the day still for him. And Angel, thank you so much. Belinda, Morgan, nice to see you. It's a Crime and Shame. Oh, It's a Crime and Shame. Oh, she's such a great lady, isn't she? No, just kidding. Hi, right. How are you? A precious meadow. What are you exactly? A diamond? You a gem? Diamond in the rough? Right.
Precious meadow.
Yeah. Sharon Parker. Okay. If I missed anybody, hello, Gabby. Looks like hello, Gabby. Yeah, and I think we can go fair. Okay, you guys. So I'm quickly just gonna play the video for you, and then we'll go on with the live here. Might have to turn off the music. Sunny. Oh, did I just see Canadian? Sunny, I am a Canadian in the UK, and my husband is UK. Wow. Obviously, this is where we've bonded, and you fell in love with this channel. Obviously, you realize this greatness going on here. That's the new thing, you guys. Orange is the new black. Well, Canadians and UK people, they just mix. Right? I'm sorry about it's a nice mix.
It is a nice mix.
Yeah, there's Deb from Deb's True Crime Notebook. Deb used to be on It's a Crime and Shame. Great lady. Deb's going to be dropping her channel throughout the live. Again, we only like to recommend any channels that we deem as really great people, to be honest with you. Where's Alexza? She's Alexza, you back again? Hello?
I think it works.
Yeah, I can see you're on your laptop now. Yeah.
Yes. Fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, put yourself
One
on.
second. 1 second, because now my annoying kids need something from me.
No, I was going to say, put yourself on mute for 1 second because I'm just going to play a quick video anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's do this. Okay. This one, I think it was here. Okay. Everyone, this is Sunny Justice from It's a Criming Shame. Now, Aspen Connor and myself host the channel It's a Criming Shame, and we want to say that we are very grateful for all those new subscribers from across the pond and why we're doing the live today, so that the people that are subscribers from across the pond that really care about the Nicola Bulley case can join us in the conversation and the live. We want to thank John from Crime Scene Courtroom for being here today, as well as profiler Alexza. Now, I really want to give also a big shout out to Maria Solares for having the footage from the River Wire on April 4th that a lot of channels have used during their videos. So for the fact of Maria, she's at 744 subscribers. I'm hoping that we can get her to 1,000 subscribers to thank her for the footage that people are using in their videos. Everyone that does boots on the ground, to me, is truly appreciated for the fact that they're the ones that are giving information, like Curtis Media, like so many others, that we would not have this footage had it not been for them. So could you guys please help me out? The description, or sorry, the link for her channel is in the video description, as well as I'll drop it throughout the live. So in saying that, we're going to talk about, of course, that the fact that the police went back there on April 4th, and according to Maria, it was almost like they were trying to see if their body would get stuck going over the weir. So let's watch this video, you guys, and then we'll get back into the live. And if you guys can give this live a thumbs up, that would be great. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that clip. And Essex Boys Outlawed just said Lancashire police have confirmed that they have officially closed the case. It is now, how do you say that word? Coronial investigation. I guess coronial. I keep thinking of Corona in my head. But anyways, so with saying that, let me go back, you guys, to the poll. So 1 second here. So we have 72% that believe it's third party involvement, 5% that say accident, 6% that say left the world by herself, and 16% that said no clue, undecided. Did I even spell that word right? Yep, I did. Okay, sorry, it caught my eye there. I was like, can't I even type on there? So Alexza, you good now? Yeah, good. All right. So John, let's see. So Essex Boys is saying Lancashire police have confirmed that they have officially closed the case. That it's now a coronial. Am I saying that right? Coronial investigation. Is that how you say that word?
That's right. Yeah, I read that recently in a in a newspaper article. So I think that's been known for a little while, probably at least a week. I think when that footage from Maria came out, once when the police released that article sort of clarifying why they were there, basically. Yeah. I think it was mentioned during one of those articles. Yeah.
So what did you actually think of that, John, about the fact that they went there a couple times?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't created any new content on the Nicola Bulley case for a few weeks, not just because I've been having an insane amount of power naps, but mainly because I was looking at the idea of how she could have left the area. And obviously one of those routes is not just by the towpath. It's actually, if you go over the little fence or sty area,
right,
you would end up closer to the weir. But my issue with that, and one of the reasons I haven't created any content solely on that at the moment, is that I was thinking to myself, well, surely if she was looking to enter the water via her own choice at a certain spot, I don't think you would necessarily choose there, because you would end up going underneath the footbridge. You know, the footbridge that she walks over.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be a great place, if there is such a thing. I didn't think it would be a really good choice to enter at that point. But then seeing the police in the river there just recently made me think, oh, hang on a minute. Maybe they're looking at the possibility that that's where she entered, because we have heard of the dog running between, some people say, the sty or that little fence area and back to the bench, which would make sense if she's gone over there somehow and entered a bit further away from prying eyes, I guess you could say. And I guess that was the first thing that stuck out to me, that is where the police pretty much are, just a bit further down over the weir. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe they're there just checking to see if anything could float over the weir, possibly. And then obviously there's always the possibility that they could be there searching for some kind of object, maybe a necklace or a Fitbit. Yes, I mean, there's a multitude of different possibilities in terms of why they are there. But their presence, I guess, it's an interesting one, definitely.
So, sorry, I want to go click on it. So Essex Boy says this means it is not a homicide investigation after the postmortems and pathologist examinations. Alexza, for you on that one. So basically they've handed the, or closed the case, handed it over. So does that take out the third party?
I think so, because I mean, I think what happened in this case, and I've seen them before, is usually when it gets to the pathologist, that means that the pathologist found something in the body that is not, I guess he wants to make sure that it's either can I say that? She unalive herself, or she, or it's an accident. And I think that she might have a cut, something that maybe it's not making sense. So usually what the pathologist does, it's a forensic pathologist, they send and they say, hey, we need an inquiry. And we need to find out, exactly, let's do measurements. Let's see, how could she get that cut or bruise or whatever they're looking at. So to me, this tells me this, I mean, by now, if they thought that there was anything nefarious, by now they would have said, let's make it into a criminal investigation. But this is telling me that I think we can rule out, and I know people, and I'm going to get comments afterwards, how can you know so sure that she unalive herself? Well, I'm sorry, I know those that have the theory that there was third party involvement. I honestly don't think so. I think by now we can almost rule it out and say that this was either an accident, which I truly don't believe. I think she unalived herself. And later on, I'll tell you a story. I actually found a lady that almost tried to unalive herself, almost in the same place that she did a couple of years ago. And I had a conversation with her. Very interesting. So for those people that say that you can't do it, actually it can be done. So
go ahead and say the story.
No, I was actually in Reddit, and out of all places, and this lady, they were going back and forth and saying, how can this happen? There's no way that you can unalive yourself. And this lady said, no, it can be done, because I did it a couple of years ago. I tried. And basically what happened with this lady was she took some medication, obviously to, some downers. And she just started walking, and she laid there and she got sleepy, and she almost drowned, but somebody saw her and they were able to catch her. But I don't know. The only thing is I don't understand. And the conversation, her phone was breaking up, and I said, we'll call tomorrow. Is she has some problems walking, because out of this whole thing, she hurt her back, but I didn't get the story how she hurt her back. But she told me that it can be done. So I mean, in this particular scenario, the lady did take some downers.
Mm-hmm.
So
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No. It just makes me wonder. Remember that we were thinking that maybe she took something, or she drank. So,
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I know that hopefully, I don't know how many of you guys in here, and you guys can just put, one. Are you guys going to trust actually the autopsy report when it comes out? One for yes, two for no. Just because of from the start to them having to go back. How many of you are actually going to trust that autopsy report when it comes out and go, okay, fine, it is what it is, or not? So one for yes, two for no. Yes, you're gonna.
I mean, what happens, Sonny, if this all comes back and it's like an open verdict? And I mean, I'm sure I said this to you on the first Nicola Bulley stream we did. I said, even when the result comes back, this is still going to carry on. Because I've got a funny feeling it's going to come back as inconclusive or something along those lines, where it still keeps this ball going.
What do you think, Adam?
I agree with John completely. Yeah, I mean, I personally, would trust the autopsy report if it comes back conclusive. I just have a feeling it won't come back conclusive. But
well, I was going to say, now just quickly, this Tommy Tucker, hi Tommy Tucker, the police said that the item that they were looking for is not something they would want the public to find. I thought that I read in the article, though, Tommy, that it's not like they were looking for an item like people were speculating.
Right. They're not, it's not like they're looking for a...
Can I jump in there, Sonny, a minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a lot of the problem with this case in a way is that these articles, all of this information was kind of like it was put out there by sort of outside sources commenting on what was taking place. So you had, I think it was Peter Blexley, that's that older guy who's been very critical of the police online on YouTube and whatever, saying, what a joke, look at what they, just basically slandering them every turn. He came out during one of those articles and said, well, this is because the coroner's not happy with the police's work and blah, blah, blah. And then someone else who isn't even involved in it, in this investigation, said they must be looking for an item. And then when this happens, you then get people creating content on, they must be looking for the Fitbit, or whereas we don't know that. These are outside people giving their opinion, kind of like what we are. Yeah. But then other people are taking that as the gospel truth, like they're there for a Fitbit or they're there for X, Y, and Z reasons, when really they haven't disclosed exactly why they're there. And this has come from people giving their opinion from outside of the investigation. And I think that's pretty much what, was it Tommy Tucker? Was that his name?
Yeah, Tommy Tucker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what can you have you got any way of rereading what he just said? Because I think that was one of the...
Sure, let me go back to it. Tommy, where are you, Tommy? Tommy, there he is, right there.
The police said the item they were looking for is not so... Yeah, that wasn't them that said that. That was another pathologist who said they must be looking for an item which the police wouldn't want the public to find. So even that hasn't come from them themselves. It's like, it's all third-hand information getting passed off now as this has come from the police. This is what they're there for, when actually we don't know.
Mm-hmm. It almost becomes like a broken telephone. Like, you read something and they make it into a fact. And like you were saying, John, I do believe that this case is going to be one of those that is going to be a conspiracy. And those people that really think that there was a third-party involvement, even if they see the autopsy report, even if they see all the facts, they will never believe it. And they believe that, they're going to believe what they're going to believe. And this is going to be one of those cases that's going to go down as a conspiracy theory.
Right. And hello, Gabby. LE stands for law enforcement.
Yes. Yeah. LE stands for law enforcement in the United States. They use that term, especially. We just say police over here, but I've had to adjust to the LE because most people that watch are typically from the United States. And that's the term that they use in the cases that we follow are typically from the United States. Although I'm really intrigued with some of these cases that are going on. Now, just quickly, like there was Rhys Rogers. You guys, I put out a video for that, and I really hope that the people that are watching today could possibly go to that video and perhaps share it from your side of the pond. Rhys Rogers was someone who went camping with some friends, and then he basically was talking to his other half named Paula throughout the day. The last phone call being at 11:18 and 11:19. His phone turned off. The call with her. Like I said, was many times throughout the day, but specifically at 4:00 that day, he had talked to Paula, his partner, and he has 2 kids, 2 boys, and said, that he was ready to come home. And she was like, oh, here we go again, because apparently he's just a homebody. And like, you know how some people, I know a lot of people like that, where they're complainers, and then they just want to go back home when they're out because it's raining or whatever and miserable or whatever the reason. And then he was like, no, I'm fine or whatever, because she said, like, well, call your dad. But anyways, she called him. He had called her multiple times after that, and then talked to her the last time at 11:18 at night. Now this is from, okay, John, please help me pronounce this. Lochranach.
Can you spell it?
Yeah, Loch.
Yeah.
And then Ronnach.
Lochranach.
Yeah, but I was listening to it.
Or as they would say in the US, lock her up.
Lock her up. But anyways, so again, this is Rhys Rogers. And so what happened is that apparently there was 2 possible sightings. One was about a mile east, I believe, of the Ulrich. I'm not sure how you say it. Again, forgive me if I'm butchering names here. But anyways, bottom line is, like Nicola Bulley, how it started off with Nicola's case, you don't know. Did he take his own life? Did something bad happen to him? Like, what happened? Like, did a third party involvement happen? So it's the same thing. So again, another case that could really use your guys' attention. And then there was one that John showed me today, you guys, that you guys have probably heard of it already. I think her name is Lucy Letby or something like that. Lucy Letby. This is a nurse, okay, that literally was taking children's lives. And in 2015 and 16, and one of the children, or 2 of them, I should say, okay, it was triplets. And she took the lives of 2 of the triplets. And then the family, she filled, I guess, their bodies up with air. And the trial is ongoing right now. Isn't that crazy, though? Like, and when you look at this lady, this Lucy lady, she actually looks, when you just look at her, you would think she almost looks like an empath, very, very kind, very whatever. But apparently there are these notes, and that she's saying, like, help me, like, basically someone that literally obviously hates their life, and they just are doing these evil things almost to make up for their own evil life going on. Yeah, Kelly. But anyways, so John was showing me that one, and I was like, ooh, like, but imagine that, triplets. And then she took the lives of 2 of them. And so the parents said, well, I want my 3rd child out of that hospital now, basically, because if you don't, we will, because obviously something. And then Lucy actually brought them, like, the remains of the whatever clothing, and sobbing to death as if she was really anyways.
It's a very strange. I mean, I covered that quite extensively when the trial started. And obviously, we have to say at this point in time, everything's allegedly, because we don't know, there's no verdict at this point. And, during the early stages, I mean, I think I covered it for the first either month or couple of months. And I actually believed, and I said this to Alexza earlier when we were talking via Messenger, that the defense, I feel, had or have, maybe, possibly, because I haven't been following it for the past maybe couple of months, but certainly the beginning of the trial, I started to look. One of those notes was released very early on, I think within the first week of the trial starting. And I read that and thought, Christ, that doesn't look particularly good. But then the defense were pretty much able to counteract pretty much everything that the prosecution were throwing at them. They were saying that this can happen in natural causes, blah, blah, blah. And I started to feel a little bit uncomfortable with continuing to create content on it, because I thought to myself, Christ, if this girl is actually innocent and I'm here making these videos reporting about what's happening, then I wouldn't feel great. Do you know what I mean? So I started to have doubts myself. So I stopped covering it, and really it kind of coincided, thankfully, with the fact that the newspaper reporters had stopped going to the court anyway. because they were doing like a full write-up of what was being said, and I was basically narrating that as into my videos. But the live reporting became more sporadic, so I just basically took a complete step back from the case and thought I'll just pick, because they did say that the trial was going to last about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So obviously now it's reaching toward the end of the trial, so I think I might pick it up again and certainly do some more videos going forward on that case. Yeah.
I'll have to look into that one.
It's very. I mean, whatever happened, I mean, if she's found guilty, it's going to be a landmark case in this country. It's going to be, absolutely.
But you know that those cases are more popular than people believe, especially that there have been a couple. I remember there was one famous one in Canada, Elizabeth Weirdlauer or something like that. In Ontario. I don't know if you ever heard of her, Sonny. I don't remember the last name, but with Lauer, something like that. And there was another one. There was another recent one here in New York too. So those cases are very, very, very popular. They're more common than people think. I guess in the UK it's making, because I think it's one of the first, second one, because there was another one.
Well, I mean, we just did a trivia thing the other night in our members live, and there was this one nurse. I can't think of her name at the moment here, but it was like, how many babies was it? 409 over a 30 years.
458, I thought, or something like that.
Over like a 30-year span. She took the lives of that many children. So we were having a trivia night on true crime the other night, and it's just amazing. But anyways, let's get back over onto the Nicola Bulley case, you guys. But again, if people can share the Rhys Rogers, it's out of Scotland, but again, it's from anyone that's from that neck of the woods. I just look at things like this. If that was someone that was my husband, my whatever, I would want the help through the internet to blast away, because if it would happen to me, I would want that myself. So I just encourage everyone that when they do come across something on their Twitter, their media source and stuff like that, it only takes a second to hit share to something, especially if something happens to you and you need the help back from the internet as well. That's what we're here to do, right? Give a voice to the voiceless, or people that just are in need of help. Maybe their cases aren't being heard, or maybe, like Ray Hanish's case, is a case that's not really talked about because it gets over talked by Delphi all the time, in a sense, and so the exposure is very little, but yet his life mattered just as much as the two girls and other cases that are going on, the Flora girls and stuff like that over on the Indiana side. I'm from Canada, if anyone doesn't know that. Aspen Connor's out of the States, and Alexza's out of New York, and Aspen's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah. And of course we got John, who's off in the UK there. It's Lodge, not Lock. Yeah, well, tell Google that, Derek, because I was literally practicing trying to say it, because I know that I think it's Loch Ness, like Loch Ness monster. Okay, so Transporter says, I'm sticking with Willow, putting everything else to one side. If she had gone into the river, she would have gone in after, worked your way down the river with Nikki. For me, Willow was found in the wrong place.
That's a good point. It very well could be.
Yeah, exactly. Now, like I kind of said in my last video, and thank you guys for everyone that watched it. There was like over 8K views and stuff like that. But my thing is this, is that from the start, though, the Lancashire police, they expected you to like pull stuff out of it, like believe in nothing is what they asked you to believe in. Believe us when we say that we just believe she fell in and it was just an accident. Like I said, there was no markings on the ground. There was no Nicola Bulley. There was no items in the water. There was nothing at all. But they wanted everyone to believe, hey, we're saying it was an accident. We believe it was an accident. So here, we got nothing at all. We got no footage to give you guys. We got nothing to show that she was there. We got nothing to show that she fell in the water in front of the bench. But hey, just believe us. And my thing is this. Well, people aren't going to sit there and take a nothing burger and go, yeah, okay, we believe you. Considering her phone is on the bench, or if it was on the ground first, who knows? And it's logged into a call. Willow's there, and they said, actually, I didn't even realize they had said this because I had said it, but I didn't realize that they had said it, to be honest, until I was watching it over in the first interview. I think whatever her name was, Smith or whatever it was, Rebecca Smith, was it? But anyways, when she said, or like maybe she had tripped over the dog, when I had said that, I actually didn't know that she had said that in there. I was just thinking it was a plausibility. But what got me was that with all the stuff that they're telling you to believe, and then search teams come in and she's not there. They can't find her. They still never found her. And this is what I can't wrap my brain around. So you literally gave everybody nothing to go on besides to believe only in what they said. They had no proof, no nothing. They didn't even know the answers themselves. Then Peter Faulding comes in, does his thing or whatever, and she's just nowhere to be found. So to me where was Nicola the entire time up until February 19th when Jason Rothwell and his friend or whatever saw her floating a quarter of a mile before she landed up in the undergrowth or whatever, the reeds underneath that tree or whatever it was, the branches sticking out. That was about a little over a mile long. So really, you just had nothing. Not only that, but then you even had like, what's her name? Emma White saying that, hey, look, we can't just go off a hypothesis or whatever. Like, you have to be looking at other things. And, the family saying, hey, Nicola, if you're watching this. So I understand all the different things for each theory, because for me, it boils down to this. They literally gave nothing. And then they sent searchers back into the water. And why? Because they still didn't know the answers, obviously. So they had to send them back to probably figure out something. So I don't know if this case too might come back inconclusive. Thank you.
I think a point worthy of remembering is there's something that I listened to on Mind Juice's latest video, and it was something I'd forgotten actually. But it took them 17 days to check if the nearest business had CCTV. So the nearest business from where she enters and exits is, I think it's the Grapes Pub. So if she was coming out of the area, she would turn right. And I think it's the first building you get to pretty much. It's not far away at all. It took them 17 days to check if that had CCTV. And it makes me think to myself, what the bloody hell's happening here? Have they actually thought about where she normally walks? Have they actually looked back at her Strava routes and thought, well, she starts here, she ends here. We really need to be checking this area. We're a bit short of dash cam footage. Let's go to the, this building or whatever this business, which is just a stone's throw away. 17 days. I mean, to me, it just seems like they didn't even bother. They didn't even bother. It's just really strange, really odd. It's almost as if they've got there, they've been told something, or they found something, and just completely and utterly shut up shop. They doesn't seem to have done any sort of, any sort of questioning in terms of the locality, what's nearby there, who could possibly have seen her. They've literally relied on a few sources who are in the field, but no one outside of that. I mean, why would you not go to the nearest business that may have CCTV of her turning right from leaving the area? It's just so weird.
Absolutely, I agree.
Here I was on mute for a second, but I seen CD say this. So Medicat, are you trying to say that the U.S. and the Canadian citizens that were just incompetent and don't know how to talk about a case? Heaven forbid that people from the U.K. cover the cases in the U.S. because there's always something going on in the U.S. So if you want to unsubscribe, happy days to you, buddy. Then you actually just don't belong in this channel anyways, because obviously if that's your mindset, then obviously you're the one that needs to fix yourself. We don't need to fix us. You need to fix you. Because I think that a profiler that has 16 years experience on it, and people that bring a voice to the voiceless and that cover missing and murder cases. So thank you guys yourselves actually for the actually good people that come in here, that follow cases, that bring awareness, that share it to social media and all those good things. I'm so sorry that your brain cells are too small, Medicat. So have a good day. Take care. Just calling a spade on that one. we don't have time for people like you and your mindset.
And I don't understand why always the animosity, because this isn't the first comment that I read like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing, on a living or a case, people die all over the world. It's the same wherever. The only thing that changes is the laws. I think the laws are completely, they're different, obviously, in the UK from the US, from Spain, from whatever you are. But I think the case, anybody should be allowed to discuss it. And I think John should be allowed to choose whoever he wants.
He talks about Delphi,
Yeah, people in Indiana are going to go like, oh, you're not from Delphi. You can't say it.
Yeah.
So sorry, John, that we made you lose one subscriber.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
No.
I'm sure I'll cope.
Again, we just want the caring people, the people that actually care, that come in here because they want to hear the thoughts and information, or again, bring awareness. But these are about the people that care. Someone like that.
The thing is, I find it fascinating getting other people's opinions and seeing how things are dealt with in other countries, and and comparing that to this country, and comparing what happens here to stuff in the States or Canada. I find it actually a plus rather than
honestly.
Correct.
Honestly, yeah. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I was going to say, I think for me, it's when I looked at the Madeleine McCann story, she was a British girl, and look at how much of that case was dictated by Portuguese law. So I think that I think it's fascinating to learn about cases in other countries, and then when you have to incorporate the laws of that country, even sometimes a third country, into the mix, it can be really frustrating and fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, Carol from Australia, how are you, girl? Ray Jones is in the house. Shelly's in the house. Hey, Morgan, how are you? A good idea can come from anywhere. Absolutely. I don't even have time to answer that type of stupidity from Medicat, to be honest with you. All I can say then, Medicat, is go create your own channel and make sure you only discuss the UK cases and nowhere else, okay? Nowhere outside of the UK. And you're going to have so many followers if you only do that. Feel free. But we happen to care. It's not even, it's about cases that grab your heart. And Nicola Bulley's case grabbed my heartstrings, Alexza's heartstrings, John's and Aspen's heartstrings, and a lot of people out there. And again, if it wasn't for channels and sleuths, and this is where I have a problem, that the Lancashire police were so hard on the sleuths, especially out there, because first of all, I want to thank Still Curtis Media. I want to thank Maria for the footage from April 4th, because if it wasn't for us and the people that follow cases and share the media, right? So when the police come asking for help, you can't just pick and choose what you want. You can't. That there's always going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly that go with everything, no matter what. But the good will always prevail over the bad regardless. And there's a lot of people out there with good intentions that are just trying to help and bring a voice to the cases. But again, no one's going to tell me if I can follow a case or not, just because I'm not from the UK. Like that Rhys Rogers one that I came upon, it was like, I Googled it, and it's not like there was a lot of coverage to it. So I'm going to bring coverage to it. And that's why I'm asking you guys if you guys can bring coverage to it, because everyone does matter, right? And anyone that's missing or murdered needs. Thank you. Was that oh, hey, Shelly. Sorry, which comment was I at there last? Well, let's just see this one. Madeleine McCann had an accident at the villa. I remember that case. Honestly, I haven't paid attention to that case in a long time, besides the girl that was trying to say that there was Madeleine McCann, but she is not. At first, I kind of felt sorry for her. Then I realized that I think that she was really just someone that was just seeking attention. And that Fia chick, that con artist, and I can't stand con. We can't stand cons. None of us here can. Okay, just be real, be yourselves, be true, be honest, be genuine. And that Fia chick, she's like putting her face on books, trying to make it seem like she's part of the book cover. Another con artist. Anyways, glad that part's over with. And now people that believe perhaps that Julie was, honestly, just someone looking for attention. It's really sad that people have to go to those levels to get their 15 minutes of fame or attention. But whatever, each to their own. You can only control your own thoughts and actions, not anybody else's. But we can choose whether we watch that crap or not. Let's see. Yes, John, they did not check enough nor soon enough. I think he's going back to your asking about the camera comment there.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, and as I say again, this is a lot of the stuff that I'm thinking about has come from watching, as I say, Mind Juice's most recent video. But even the way he put it across quite well in terms of how the police were coming across themselves during those press conferences, overselling what they had. It's very odd, and I can't understand why they would do this. Like they talk about the CCTV for one moment and sort of overstating what they had. Oh, we've been very fortunate in this investigation because we've got CCTV at Rowan Water, we've got CCTV here, there, and everywhere. It's almost as if they haven't checked where she normally walks. It's really weird. Like, why would you say that you've been incredibly unfortunate that there's no CCTV seeing Nicola walking from the school to the start of her walk? That's what they should have said. But instead, they've said the complete opposite and said, we've been very fortunate. We've got all this CCTV so we can be confident that she hasn't left the area. Yet they don't have CCTV where she would start or end. So it's a completely stupid comment to make, to be honest.
Yeah. Right said Fred 123 says, we will never be able to comprehend what Nikki went through in her last moments. No, sorry, I had a frog in my throat. Anyway, last moments. Now, what does that suggest to you?
But I think when that January 10th comes to light, because I am pretty sure one day that wellness check sooner or later will come to light. I think that will give us a big look into what she was going through, because I do believe it had something to do with her mental stage. Like I had been digging about it, like why would the police show up, especially laws are different in the UK. Here somebody loses a key and they call the police, but in the UK it's a little bit different. And I mean, this is my opinion, but I do believe that it had something to do with her mental health, her mental stage. And I think this is why Paul seems so angry, because he doesn't look surprised what happened. I mean, I think he's trying to say that he is, but in reality, I always told you that I felt anger, and I think that's where it's coming from. So I would love to see why was that,
Yeah, and I know that that's not a popular one, but you know what? In all fairness, it's a realistic one as well. It is. People unalive themselves all the time. Being in true crime, you guys should know this. Being in true crime, you see all these cases where you say to yourself, as a parent, as a mother, as a father, whatever, that you could not imagine that someone will do this. But look at that case recently, you guys, where the mother sent the father out to go get some food, and she took her 3 kids' lives. And then she hopped out of the window to take her own life. Karma come at this bitch because she's a quadriplegic right now. She's paralyzed, right?
Was that in Virginia or Maryland?
Yeah.
I believe it was somewhere in the States for anyone in the UK that's not familiar with it.
Right?
But I mean, she's still breathing. Her poor babies. Her poor 3 kids.
You know what? And she literally used exercise equipment, left the kids in the base, or did it in the basement while her husband was going to get food.
And you know what bothered me about that case is that she even Googled how long it would take the husband to go and pick up from that restaurant, so she knew how much time he had. So she knew more or less how many minutes she had to unalive her kids.
My thing is this, never be like, it's really about never being so sure, even though if you don't believe it is the reason that happened, it's always just for the open mind part of it, is that there are things in there that we do know that are to show that that is possible. It's not like it was a nothing burger. The family in themselves, like I've said before, the family themselves were basically looking at the camera going, you know, Nicola, if you're watching this, they're the ones that actually put out the information, right? So although the Ellie put out that information, which is the stupidest thing that they did, one of the stupidest things, putting out the information about the alcohol and menopause stuff, honestly, like, so they were basically saying, like, we want you to tell the public this. Well, why would they want them to tell us that if they didn't think that it was a possible reason what happened to Nicola? That's why they put that information out there. They wouldn't even have, I mean, well, like I said, Lancashire Police never should have put that out there in the first place. That should have been their information to use. Just like they could mind their own business about all the sleuths online and just do your damn jobs, okay? And quit worrying about if this channel's saying this or this channel's doing that. You're not going to fix it, the Lancashire Police. You're not going to fix that, okay? I mean, I guess because they like literally bullied basically Curtis Media there and basically said he's doing nothing wrong and then arrest him the next day for something that happened on the 19th. Like, come on, give me a break. But anyways, so
I just want to rewind quickly, Sunny.
Rewind.
Before I forget. I find it quite interesting because CD and Alexza have like a sort of a difference of opinion when it comes to Nicola's partner. CD has always said, well, I don't know, there's something strange about him. And Alexa's like, no, you know, he's angry. And it's annoying for me because I kind of sit sort of slap bang in the middle, really. Like, on one hand, he seems to me to be quite emotionally detached. And on the other hand, I can see what Alexa's saying about an underlying sort of animosity in a weird way, if that's the right word to use.
Yeah.
So I can see it from both sides, but it's quite interesting to see those, you know, that sort of difference of opinion, because I think that is spread pretty much across social media, isn't it? A lot of people are, you know, slandering this, that, and the other, and some people are saying, no, you know, this was most likely her choice or whatever. But, yeah, it's interesting.
Well, you know, like this comment here, Nicola was a beautiful, we'll say L. L, I can't even try that if I
just say Elizabeth.
I know. That's what I thought when I seen it. I was just going, it looks like Elizabeth. There's probably the word Elizabeth in there.
Yeah.
But anyways, Nicola was a beautiful, healthy woman. But was she Elizabeth? Because maybe she wasn't so healthy in the mind. You know, and that's the point. The family is the one that talked about the January 10th. The family is the one that gave the information about the alcohol and menopause. There would be no reason to even bring that to their attention unless it was an impact. They wanted the public to know, even though it was stupid to me for Lancashire Police to even release that information, because that so here they were trying to stop the conspiracies and the, you know, stuff for the family that somebody was going to come out and, you know, say stuff anyway. Why? Like, you just, instead of leaving it as a rumor, they just added fuel to the fire, to be honest. They actually gave more people thought to ponder on that information to go with it. So just remember that when everyone keeps saying that there's no hope in heck that she took her own life, it is a possibility, because they wouldn't have given that information if they didn't think it was some information that they felt the public should know. And that was from the family. That was from her.
I think it's also worth remembering, though, Sunny, is that her mum, dad, and sister did a press conference where they said this is completely out of character. She's a healthy woman. She's got no problem. She loves her job. She's a happy person, you know. So people hearing that on the face of it are then going to think, well, this is completely out of character. You know, she's gone missing. I mean, I think that's even the words that they use themselves. This is out of character for her to go missing. You know, she's a healthy woman. She's got no problems, no issues. She's a happy-go-lucky girl, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, no one knows, though, do they? No, even those closest to her, even those closest to anybody, don't truly know what goes on in someone's mind.
But that wasn't true, because, I mean, she did have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
So obviously I think the perception they were giving is completely, you know, erroneous, because it's not true. That's, you know, she was having problems, and then they said that the menopause, whatever. I think the menopause was underlying mental. She was going through mental issues or
mental health issues.
And I
Yeah.
think they just called it, menopause. That basically that's what they used to call women when they were either you're hormonal or you're menopausal.
Mm-hmm. And no, by family, I don't just mean Paul. I'm talking about when they talked about it in the press conference, they said that they had talked to her family, as if including her parents as well, about that they were going to. So remember how in that press conference they said that they were going to keep the vulnerabilities private, and then within a couple hours. So
They were not private.
yeah, so it wasn't just Paul, it was they talked to the family, and who knows if Emma White was involved in that conversation, who knows. But either or, it just becomes again, right? Who knows what will become of this autopsy, but there's still, to me, rationalization for each one. But of course, if they're I mean, like I said, it really depends if they deem the autopsy as inconclusive, but yet if it was a homicide, you think that homicide investigation would happen, and it's
let's discuss if possible. I mean, and I think this is what I covered in one of my recent videos, is that I fall kind of in the middle. I'm not 100% sure that she took her own life. I am open to the possibility of third-party involvement, but I can't see this being an accident based on how the river was where her items are discovered. So I'm just kind of using common sense, really, to sort of negate that as a possibility. But then that still leaves us, even if you believe she took her own life. Okay, so then how did she end up where she is? Did she leave the area? Did she walk back down the towpath? Why wasn't she seen by anybody? Why wasn't she caught on dash cam? Why didn't anybody see her cross the road if she entered further downstream? There's so many questions. It's not. I don't believe it's just as simple as saying, yes, she took her own life and that's it. Because we still have to explain how that happened. Because it most definitely didn't happen by the bench. It couldn't have done, in my opinion, anyway.
That right, and that's the part that nobody can believe. Virtually, is there anyone in here? Just hit one. Is there anyone at all in here, this chat right now, that believes that no markings, no nothing, no Nicola found? I'm not sure who's messaging me, but anyways, does anyone here at all believe that Nicola Bulley fell right where the bench was and hurt herself in that bench area, considering how shallow it was, considering no markings, no nothing? Now, someone in an earlier comment said, well, something like the police knew because the friend, a witness said that they would have seen her go in the water or something like that. Well, no, because the police literally told us in a conference that they believe she did, to their best of their abilities. They believe she did, but they had nothing that they could show for it. Not even a witness to say, because that's the whole point. There was a witness, obviously, they would have said that, but they said between 9:20 to 9:30 that's the whole time frame that they're trying to, right? That they have nothing for.
Another point I've just remembered, these things just come back to me every now and then. But about 3 or 4 days after she went missing, the police still didn't know how she got to the school. Because
I know.
So when you combine that with what I spoke about earlier, with the fact that it took them 17 days to go to the nearest business, which is just down the road, to see if they've got CCTV of her walking, or just in case, 17 days to do that. 3 or 4 days after she's gone missing, they don't even know how she haven't even checked the CCTV from the house, clearly, because they said, well, she made her way to the village. They were very non-committal in how she actually did that, which then tells me they haven't checked the CCTV from the house. So it's, I don't know, just very odd, very weird.
Right.
Oh no, sorry.
Very strange.
Just because I turn purple sometimes when I go to a different page on there. And again, oops, okay, 1 second.
Let's just read that. Everyone talks saying she has alcohol problems or has issues. This is all based on what Paul has told the police. He could easily have constructed all this to me. And that's another point worthy of mention, where we're going by what someone has told authorities at some stage. Was that Nicola? Was that her partner? Was that a friend? We don't know. We don't know how they were in receipt of that information, that she had alcohol issues or menopausal issues. Did that come from her herself? We'll never know, will we? Sadly.
No.
Remind me of the dogs. When did they bring in the dogs? Do you remember?
The dogs, the search dogs, you mean? I don't know. It must have been. Well, would it have been on the weekend? It's funny because I know that divers were in the water within 3 or 4 hours of her disappearing. So that's why I'm so confident she didn't fall in by the bench. But then we also had those photos in the press of boats with the dogs on, didn't we? And I would have met. But then I also heard that they didn't do much over that weekend. She went missing on the Friday, and then apparently there wasn't that much search efforts on the weekend. But I can't clarify. That's just what I heard on another channel from that Laura lady. Can't remember her channel. But that's interesting. Yeah, as I say, there were photos in the press of dogs on the search dogs on the boats, but I'm not exactly sure. I would imagine over the weekend or at the start of the following week, I would guess.
Do you guys remember that so according to Paul, he took Willow back there the next day, and that Willow basically didn't alert to anything. Basically, it was like, hey, I just want to play, throw me the ball type of thing. Whereas in the media, people were saying that he alerted to the upper field area near that gate. But Paul himself never said that, because when you listen to the, like I said, the interview there on the Vanished, when he's talking about it, he says, no, Willow didn't do anything. Like he was hoping, he said, that Willow would kind of like, where's mommy? Where's mommy? And did nothing. But yet only because for the longest time, it was like, I just remember people saying that Willow had alerted up in the upper field there. So what was I gonna say? So yeah, like me too, John, when it comes to the whole bench thing, and they were in the water within a few hours and they found nothing. So I don't know that I believe that the perfect storm happened here and that there was no slip marks. There was nothing to show that she kind of slid or fell. There was no Nicola. There was nothing. Like nothing.
And remember, she was wearing a puffer jacket, which is water resistant, and is designed to, not get wet. And so, I mean, if she went in that water and then there were people at that bench within 10, 20 minutes, where was that jacket? It had already submerged completely underwater and couldn't be seen. It's just been one of the biggest questions I've had. Is that puffer jacket makes no sense to me. If she went into that water by the bench.
Right. And they say it takes like about 3 days. I've read this. I did a lot of reading on it, but it says typically about 3 days, someone's basically bowel and buttocks fills with gases, and that's what makes them float. But they said that the colder it is, that sometimes that a body in cold water might never surface, to be honest with you, depending on how cold it is, or depending if there's trees that have fallen into the water and they're caught underneath the branches. But obviously Nicola's body, if people don't believe that she was thrown in there and they go by the unaliving or an accident, then perhaps she was caught underneath something. She had to be somewhere between the 27th and the 19th. And to me, what I don't get is this. It's not exactly like this. It's a wide river. It's a very narrow river that's not truly very deep. How did everyone just miss her? Like how? Even if she went underneath the water and come back up floating, how? Because they were searching that river up and down there. Like that was their whole hypothesis, was that she had fallen in the water. And that's why they put so much effort into, that river. So
I honestly think it's incompetency. I think they said they searched that area, but I don't think they got to that area. I think they were searching towards the other side. I don't think they went, because she had to be there. I just don't think they search up to that area. Because in their calculations was, if she was here and she went through here, in 2-3 days, she would have traveled this amount, and they just checked that. And I think that they were so narrow-minded and focused on that area. that they didn't. Of course, then they have to say, oh yeah, we checked. And I think that was the downfall, to say that they had checked.
I mean, for them to go back into the water and then check to see if their body goes over their thing, you know, tells me that they had no clue how.
Yeah, no.
Like how her body even.
Yeah, and there. I guarantee you that those instructions are coming from the pathologist, that he probably saw something that he is not sure, and that's why they're doing this. That they need to confirm how she got it.
Yeah. And again, if we can ask you guys, if you guys don't mind giving this live a thumbs up, yeah. Thank you guys. And I really truly want to appreciate all the people that have subbed here from the UK and across the world, or that are in the US or Canada or anywhere. It doesn't really matter. But again, this live was specifically geared towards that everyone could kind of hopefully join it, but especially the people in the UK, because again, this is in their neck of the woods. You know, just because we're Canadians or from the US doesn't mean we don't care just as much. We obviously do. And if it wasn't for all you guys that are caring people out there that care about cases, honestly, this world would suck. Okay, it really would. I'm always very grateful, and that's why we try to keep it clean and classy in here. Like, we like to have fun and joke around and talk true crime and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's really becomes about, you know, there's the caring people up here, and to keep the crappy people out that don't belong here. Those ones can go away. Unsubscribe those ones, and only the subscribers that truly are here because they care about cases and have opinions themselves. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you to all those subscribers that have joined us recently.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. We really do appreciate it. And I hope you can tolerate us even if we're not from the UK.
I mean, I half count because you know, in my genes, I'm British. I have more British in me than my husband, probably.
My friend,
my mom is British.
My friend Prime Bloke said I look more British than he does, and he lives in Bristol.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who True Crime Bloke is, which I'm sure a lot of you guys probably do, if not, he does true crime as well. But yeah, so yeah, no, like I totally didn't realize that. I forgot that my dad's parents and that are from the UK side, and I got some British in me. It counts. Plus, I married a Brit. It counts a little bit more, right? So whatever to you, Medicat, or whatever your name was.
One question I do have, Sonny.
Sure.
I was thinking about earlier is, why did they ring the school?
Yeah, I know.
Why? Because again, I'm bloody paraphrasing again from my Mind Juice's latest video, but the whole Emma White connection with her working at the school and then them calling the school, and I don't know, why would you ring the bloody school? The only thing that the only way I can kind of rationalize it is that if this was a small village, small sort of place, maybe that's like a focal point. You know, the school is a place that they would call because everyone knows it, or everyone knows everybody from there. That's the only way I can really rationalize why you would call a school and not so much a vet or whatever. It's weird.
Well, that part blows me away too, and I'm sure it does with most of you guys. Okay, so first of all, you're not going to have to be a vet number on your dog tag. You're going to have, I mean, if it's on there, it's going to be on there, but you're going to have your own name on there with your home phone number. So that kind of blew me away too. And the whole thing with, you know, in the papers or whatever, the articles, they're saying that Peggy tied up the dog, and then Peggy's talking to Ron's sister, which is her sister-in-law or something like that, and Peggy's saying to Ron, and I guess what's her name again, Anne Marie, like, don't forget to top the dog, you know, like, and I'm like, and then right, and not only that, you guys, but Paul is literally calling this phone at certain times. Yeah, he's calling her on Skype, I believe it was, and calling her phone. And so what? None of them are answering it as it's sitting in their hand, or?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about you know, didn't he say I called her on WhatsApp and this, that, and the other? A photo would most likely come up if it was on WhatsApp. You know, a photo of him would come up, and if they know that, oh yeah, well, sometimes we see Nicola walking the dog, sometimes we see Paul walking the dog. Well, you'd see his picture, no doubt, when he's calling on WhatsApp, surely.
Plus, he said it was unlocked. You know.
Yeah.
He said it was unlocked.
John, that's a point. Noonan says there's CCTV footage at the school. And I've wondered that as well. I mean, because they, clearly they have a lot of footage from that school of her movements after dropping the girls off, and so I'm surprised they didn't release at least a still shot from the school. But there are a lot of things that bewilder me in this case.
I mean, I assume they have CCTV at the school. I would imagine that they do.
Oh, they should.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest with you, I just, to me, they've insulted the public in so many ways, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with their arrogance, thinking that, people are just going to be like, yeah, okay, we're going to buy nothing, like all this nothingness that you're giving us and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just feel like they've, insulted the public's intelligence and just that. Not only that, just honestly, should be ashamed of their work from not even like. I was looking at a video that Curtis Media did yesterday, and it was about a sad case about Michael Oakley, and basically, I think he had left a hospital and they found him, but he hadn't unalived himself or took his own life. And he was like, and then he showed like the roped off area or like the, with the ribbon or whatever, the crime scene ribbon. He's like, and you could tell he was pointing it towards Lancashire. And he's like, and this is how it should be done. Because again, right. I mean, it just like they blamed Peter. They blamed everybody but themselves. They're the ones that put out the information about Nicola. Shame on Lancashire Police. I'm telling you right now, shame on you guys for the ones that were involved in Nicola's case that allowed.
Arrogant is the right word for it. They were arrogant from the very first press conference. They were arrogant, inadequate, and it makes complete sense to me as to why there's an inquiry, current inquiry going on about that department.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think my biggest concern right from day one is the fact, and I'm probably going to repeat myself here, but my biggest concern from day one is the fact that they haven't sealed this area off. And then now this story's become international news. Because
of their sloppiness.
But once those few hours pass of you not sealing that area, there's no turning back. You can't then turn back and say, well, hang on a minute, we might be looking for a third party here. We're really considering this, because the next natural question from the reporters at the press conference is, well, hello, why didn't you seal the crime scene? Have you got any evidence? Have you sealed this area off? Have you got the forensics in? And we can't answer that question, can they? And what concerned me is that they were in the background thinking, shit, we can't turn back now. We've got to carry on with the river, because otherwise, what can we say? How can we explain why we didn't treat this as a crime scene? And that was my biggest issue, that maybe that they would just they headed off down a path that they couldn't possibly turn back from.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But from that, I've been thinking about it, and I said to myself, is it that they knew from the, like, let's say Paul was the one who called the police. Was it that he probably maybe said, she's been having some trouble, and they assume automatically, although obviously they never should have assumed. They should have been a crime, they should have taped it off anyway from the get-go, regardless, whatever. But in my mind, I've been thinking about that, because I'm like, that's something that the police does all the time. Whatever it is, they just go in and they put the tape, and that's standard procedure. So in my mind, I've been thinking about it. Could have been that maybe on that phone conversation, they already knew her mental state, and from there they knew that there was no way that somebody unalived her, that they were so sure that she did something, and that's why they were like, well, we're not even going to bother.
Well, one thing we can say, I mean, that's certainly how they behaved.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they conducted the entire investigation, as if they knew from the first phone call.
Yes.
Oh, she's in there. Yeah, she's definitely in there. There was no. It doesn't matter if they come out and say we're open to this, that, and the other.
Yep.
You didn't check for CCTV from a place just down the road for 17 days, for God's sake. Over 2 weeks later. Crazy.
It's like they didn't care because they already knew. And going back, and I've been rewatching the press conference, one of them, and that's almost the impression that I got. That in that phone conversation, that first conversation, they already knew in their mind what happened. They get, Paul probably said she's been having problems, and maybe they look back at that January 10th, whatever, and they said, okay, this is what happened. And maybe it turns to be true that that's how it happened, but it's still incompetency because they're supposed to, look at every angle and
Due
every.
diligence, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
That's why I find it so offensive.
It is.
Personally, with this case, is that just that they've poked fingers at everybody but themselves properly, and honestly, they should hang their heads low and walk the walk of shame on this. And hopefully, in the future, like anything, unfortunately, but in the future, that of course they'll have learned a lot.
Because basically, look what they did to Peter. Peter basically, 20 years of a career basically gone for one mistake.
Mhm.
And he's not gonna. I mean, he will come back from that, but he will always have that chip, and that's something that 20 years of doing career, you don't want that.
I was actually looking, at his Facebook actually yesterday, because I was looking to actually message him to see if he wanted to, give a comment or something. But there was actually no thing that said send message. But he has a book, that he had just dropped called "What Lies Beneath." He was showing pictures of SG&I and the team. I just think it's really disgusting that they literally took that man's career, in a sense, to the public on this being such a high profile case out there, one that for the most part, that from what I'm gathering of what's been said, that UK really hasn't seen such a case that took on such a hold and went so viral in a sense. And but I think it's rather disgusting when somebody can take someone's their livelihood, what they do, and to take someone that went into it with the goodness of his heart to help, and then to be, and I don't care, and then you can tell he's a truthologist himself. He was just calling a spade a spade. He didn't want to shut up, because why didn't he want to shut up? Because they literally used him as a scapegoat, to almost like to blame him. Granted, he said a few things that were accurate, but maybe they were accurate. Maybe we'll come to find out that he was accurate. Who knows? But the bottom line is that when someone I left a comment, I can't think of the name who did it, but it's like a good deed never goes unpunished, in a sense. But it's like he got punished for doing a good deed, and hopefully, actually, it reverses itself. But it's just a fact that it was their own sloppiness. They're pointing fingers at true crime sleuths, at Peter Faulding, to everybody else, but their own sloppy incompetence, and that's what pisses me off. Because honestly, from the get-go to even now, it's almost an embarrassment, to be honest with you, at least in my eyes, how it was handled. No crime scene right away, just to get the public to believe in something when they had nothing to give. And they really, actually, it's kind of like the Delphi case, when they caused the own drama themselves because of how it's been handled. Emma's a drunk, is she? Hey, JDR, how are you? And threatening to off herself, and then Ellie went to her house previously. Again, hopefully some of the things that are in Pandora's box will open up, and who knows? The family's being quiet for now, but who knows? How quiet they'll be. Who knows how quiet family and friends will be after the maybe the answers or the autopsy comes out. My money is on witnesses in Caravan Park. Look at Curtis Media and the grandson. They were vile. Yeah. The grandson.
Be right back.
Yeah, the grandson certainly was a mouthpiece there, wasn't he? On there. That's all still confused to me, because Christine Bowman is the lady in the red jacket. There's a guy named Michael Bowman who looks a lot like Roger or Ron, but I don't know if that's his real name. I'd love to know who that Ron guy,
Right.
It's probably not his real name, or maybe it is. I don't know. All I know is that it's something that should have seemed easy, but isn't. It should have just been like, okay, woman's phone found on the bench, dog here, she's in the water, some accident, Boom. That didn't happen. They couldn't find her. There's nothing to show for it. And you have January 27th to February 19th, and they didn't find her. They can't even take credit for any of it, because all they did was pull her out of the river wire. River wire. Okay, what happened there? My tongue just went. There was only one set of tire tracks in and out of town, down by the side of the church, and 5 barred gate, which is normally shut, was open. I'm not sure what that's referring to be honest. Anybody know? Anybody?
Let's have a look. There was only one set of tire tracks in there. 5 barred gate, which is normally shut, was open.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Ian, myself. How your week's been crime scene? How's your week been crime scene? Ryan's asking, how's your week?
Yeah, all good, Ryan. I'll have an Essex Boys video out for you tomorrow, hopefully, all being well. If I can get out of bed. You know how we roll.
Yeah, I know. Me and John have kind of been having a little go at each other with, time for a nap. I've been up 2 hours now. Time to go to bed. Maybe I'll make a video today. No, not today. Maybe tomorrow.
I think you guys have rubbed off on me the last 2 days.
I'm getting some feedback on my
Are you?
on my head. Yeah, I think it's because I went out of range and I've come back. Let me just just gonna just bear with me. I'm just gonna turn my camera off and start.
Time to dump a body. Peter Faulding knew as soon as he turned up, not in the river. Let's see here. I'm upset that PA didn't tell Peter Faulding. Oh, right. And that, again, that's Drama Llama. That's just another thing on top of the multiple other things, is that, right, he should have been aware of that. I mean, again, people are experts in certain things. Obviously, Ellie isn't the expert in the water side of it, and how someone handles a search, if they had that information, would have been a different story, because then you would have been thinking differently, not just, accident. Okay, let's check this area. This is the area that she should be in. And again, and this goes back to it, like no one knows for sure. Like Alexza was saying earlier, no one knows for sure, but by their expertise in the area, they're going by what typically happens, or what typically could have happened, just by their expertise. Doesn't mean that they're 100% right. They're just going by their expertise. I can't talk like that because I'm not an expert in handwriting or body language. And I mean, I do read people's body language, don't get me wrong, but that's just a natural cancer ability. Okay. but you know what I mean? So but they should have said to him for sure. We so sound like there was someone else with him in the house. I'm not sure what that one means there. He was the only one that spoke any sense. You talking about Peter? Who are you talking about, Missy?
I think Peter Faulding. I think
Peter Faulding, right?
Yeah.
What is it? What is it in the UK? 11:30 now?
11:41.
Oh, 11:41.
No. 10:41.
Oh, 14. Yeah. You weren't even thinking 10:41, right?
I'd be in bed if it's 11:41.
I remember Faulding is on the government payroll and may be part of the plot, not to recover the body, but to place it. Well, that's quite the theory on that one, isn't it? He has been involved in black ops in the past. Ooh, I don't know about that one. I mean, you know what? I don't want to take away from anyone's thoughts or theories, because everyone has their reasons why they believe in what they believe. So there's no right or wrong there. I mean, the answers hopefully will come out to us regardless. But as for opinions and stuff like that, again, that's kind of what actually makes things great, is that people's thoughts give you as well. Like, so let's say I'm set on a certain thing that happened myself. and then you listen to other people's thoughts or read other people's thoughts. I don't have like this very closed mind. I like to think of what people are saying and then see if there's, it's plausible. I do always look for the most common sense reasoning. But that, then we got the Lori Vallow case. If any of you guys from the UK have no clue about the Lori Vallow case, okay, when you hear about that case, you just think there's no way. There's no way that freaking zombies and, freaking circles of this or I don't know, all this weird shit with that case. And, you just don't even think that's, you think it's a book. Like you don't even think that something like that exists. And it's like I said, that stuff does. I mean, if you guys don't know that case, it's like far out there. It's like a whole different planet away. And yet it's true, and sad, but true. Can I ask you guys something from the States? Because it's always been said that you guys truly believe like there's going to be a zombie apocalypse one day. Is that really true, or is that just certain people?
It's just certain people.
No, it's going to happen.
Aspen being one of them.
Well, Alexza, I hope it starts at your house first. I guess to me, I always just found that like absurd about this whole zombie thing, besides watching it in movies. But then when you realize that the people like the Lori Vallow case and that comes along, and you're like, where do these people lose it?
I actually have a friend that the father built a bunker and has like food and has everything because he believes that something is going to happen one day. And he's always telling me, "Oh, you should be prepared. You should know better by water."
Yeah. Okay.
Shaun of the Dead's a legend. It's a great movie.
Okay. How can a case have zombies? Oh, trust me, watch the Lori Vallow case. That thing has everything in it that will make for great movies, in a sense, at the sadness of two beautiful.
Two dead children.
Two dead children, literally burned.
And other people were killed as well, but
in that weird relationship, that incest between the brother and between Alex, her brother, and her. Oh, disgusting. I mean, I don't have siblings because I'm the only child, but I would assume I would never allow my brother to caress my breast and caress me. Or I would caress my brother in private areas.
Would hope not.
I'm also an only child. I couldn't possibly comment.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? You guys, let's go on to the chat right now. And just put out some questions that you guys have. I know that you guys have been leaving comments and stuff like that, but sometimes I have to scroll down. You guys might have said something earlier, but let's go down to again to you guys in the chat here and see what your guys have some questions or want us to hit a topic with regards to Nicola Bulley. I know, right?
Yeah. Pincho says brother sister love is okay by me. Only in certain movies.
Right.
Or certain states.
Yeah. 1 sec. Look and see if there's any. I just listened. Hey, Melissa, Hey, Melissa, be right back. Oh, there. I'll just put something up and then you guys can talk about it for a second.
I would like to know, Sunny,
it wasn't.
If people in the chat, if they do believe that there's some sort of third party involvement, if they could explain how they believe that took place.
Okay, you got that? Okay.
Right.
Because because the highest percentage here is third party involvement. Yeah, put your thoughts there in the thing and we'll pull them up on the screen.
We should find somebody that believes that and do a live with them. I would love to get in their brain and see. Respectfully.
Yeah.
I'd like to know also, out of those people, how many of those people think the third party is Paul?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start off with that question. How many in here believe it's Paul? Hit one if you believe it's Paul. You don't have to hit anything else. Just one if you believe it's Paul. And give me 1 second.
Oh, please. I even heard the most, what was the best one I heard? The best one I heard was that, the friend, what's her name? Emma. Yeah, that Emma is the one, that Emma and Paul were having an affair, and that was the reason that she was taken out. Which is, I mean, not far-fetched, but I mean, come on. And that the one that got in the car was Emma. It wasn't Nicola.
That's my biggest stumbling block on the third party situation, is the fact that the children are 6 and 9.
Exactly.
And you could never rely on 2 children that are 6 and 9 to keep a secret, or not to say, "Oh, mummy didn't drop us off at school." You know,
Exactly.
It would come out, wouldn't it? And that's my biggest
Precisely.
stumbling block with a third party involvement. If Paul and someone else is involved in it, and she didn't actually make that walk that day, I can't get over that hurdle of the children being taken to school.
Yeah, and I've said that from the get-go as well. That's the one thing I can't get past when it comes to the third party involvement.
Pincho says, third party for me is telling Nicola to put dog on lead, and then she gets upset and jumps into the river. And then he says, what does the panel think?
I guess that could also go alongside, possibly the people that found the items on the bench. Maybe some kind of altercation taking place there. Maybe I think that's what that commenter's kind of alluding to.
Okay. Maurice McCann says Ansel paid henchman so he can be with her sister, which I believe she's referring to Louise Cunningham. Haven't heard that one, Marie. Haven't heard that one yet. Heard about the Emma White one.
Marie had mentioned earlier about the fact that Nicola's sister had moved in to help with the children. I think about 2 weeks after she went missing, and she found that suspicious. I personally didn't find that suspicious, because I think, but I understand where the suspicion would come from.
Why would it be suspicious? I mean, the sister just died, and she's coming in to help the kids.
I'll tell you what, though. Again, we can look at a lot of cases where stuff like this truly does happen. Though.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, although if we don't necessarily perhaps believe it for Nicola Bulley, and some people do or don't or whatever, this type of shit does happen all the time. Like there was a story here where this girl's best friend was pregnant, and she literally killed her friend to steal the baby. Or no, sorry, yeah, she must have died to steal her baby and stuff like that. And it's like I said, or cheating. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say, because I can go through so many things. I mean, all you have to do is watch Jerry Springer.
But you know what? It's an easier way, and it's a cheaper way. It's called divorce. It's called
but that's for the normal, regular person in this world. There's a lot of not normal people in this world. In fact,
I mean, like that dentist that he wanted to have an affair and he killed the wife. Like, doesn't he realize that he's going to get caught anyway?
Well, Christopher Watts. I mean, I
mean, if I ever want to get rid of the one on the, downstairs, I mean, just see, I don't have to get rid of him.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to say that stuff like truly does happen. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of crackerjacks in this world, and things that the normal average person would never think to do. How did a French fry get on my shirt? I'm sitting there. I'm like, what's on my shirt? He doesn't understand. I got some big boobies. I guess it was housing it for me for later. Anyways.
Oh my God.
You're welcome. TMI, but it's okay. But yeah, because it's the normal thinking people, like I said, can't comprehend this type of thought or thinking, and or don't have maybe these mental instabilities like some people have, because some people out there are just wacko jackos, and like honestly, it doesn't really shock me anymore, because when you're in true crime, you see so many stories, but inside what I'm thinking is like, I don't even know how to explain that, because it's like what people do like what some people's length that they go to take somebody's life or lives, you know, like look at all these mass shootings going on in the United States. Every day there's something, you know, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go to a school, you know, go shoot some kids. And hey, you know what? I'm just going to get the police to shoot me. Like the one that just happened, get the police to shoot me. And, you know, I might as well take out some kids while I'm at it because I'm angry at my own life and I hate my own life. So, hey, this is, you know, and you wonder what took their brain to get to that point to do that, you know. There's just too many of them out there, too many. And the internet's no help for that whatsoever. It's like copycats. It's like that's what it feels like, just copycats. You know what? I was thinking to do that today, but this guy took my glory, so I think I'll do it tomorrow. You know, it's crazy to me. You think Nicola could have hung herself with the dog lead? No, because they found the dog lead, so they would have went into the water with her. Yeah.
Did they find the lead, or was it just? Cause I get bloody confused about the lead and the harness. No,
I'm
the
kind of
harness.
confused about the lead.
I don't think they found it
because was it the harness that was on the ground?
Yeah, the harness.
Okay.
I get confused about the lead as well.
Yeah, maybe somebody can clear that up for us because even I get confused about that too. Let's see. There were 4 videos which I reported to LP, and 4 out of 2, as I wasn't happy with the content. These disappeared for 2 days and then came back up, edited and under a different title.
Who's LP?
Yeah, who's LP? Yeah, I'm not sure who LP is, Ian. I think she never went on the walk.
Well, that's my I'm not sure if you were here then, Sonny, but that's my biggest stumbling block with that about not being on the walk is the 2 children being taken to school by their mum. You know, so if something happened afterwards, how did Nicola get back home if her car was found at the school? You know, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just I can't get past that part.
Yeah, and Angel says confrontation with Penny from Caravan Park pushed at Red Building. So a lot of people think that like the Caravan Park and Penny, I mean, her whole thing is kind of strange too, but that's because we only get bits and pieces, I guess, of the story, because we know when Ron's talking, he's saying one thing, and that. So how is it? Because when they talk about Penny in the press conference, in a sense, when they're talking about the witness, basically it was didn't even say that she had an appointment to go to. It said it in the paper. But at the press conference, it was kind of like she didn't know who it belonged to. So she went home and called like the vet and like obviously her daughter. Oh, don't even start, Adam.
Sorry.
You guys know that yawns are contagious, right? So if I start yawning on there, I know. Okay. Gotta look away. Shoot. Yawns are so contagious. So I apologize to anyone that's going to yawn right now because Adam did it. But yeah, that whole thing with Penny is like weird to me because it was said that she had an appointment to go to, you know, so she called her whatever. But that's not the way that the press conference when she's I can't think of their names now. Rebecca Smith was one, and what was the other lady's name?
I can't for the bloody life of me remember her. It'll come to me in a minute.
Oh my god, are you
yawning? Sally Riley.
Riley, that's right. And so it was just like strange. So she went home to make phone calls, you know, and call the vet. And I'm thinking like, so she would have not have had her phone with her if that was the case.
The problem for me again with there being some sort of confrontation is we're talking about the area again by the bench, and I can't see anything happening there just because of the fact that she wasn't found in that area on the first few hours of the search. I can't, unless a confrontation took place further downstream somehow or beyond that sty and thick and fence area, possibly. I can't see that really being a possibility either.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
also,
very strange.
if somebody even if she was pushed, she could have gotten up. So that means that the lady had to go into the water and maybe strangle her, because that's the only possibility. Because even if she fell, why couldn't she get up? And I mean, disrespectfully, I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense, but this is just my trade. Okay, the lady that from the caravan pushes her, Penny pushes her into the water, and what happens next?
Mm.
Unless she hit a rock, like a big rock that happens to be there, and she came unconscious. You know what I mean? But they didn't find anything.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Regardless of what may have happened, they didn't find her there. So to me, that tells me she was never there, because it wasn't, that part of the river doesn't even move hardly. And for them to be in the river in 3 or 4 hours, is like, I think Sonny made a good point in one of your previous videos, Sonny. You're not talking about some vast expanse of water. It's a bloody narrow, it's a narrow river. Very easy to search, the width of it at least. And for them not to find her in the first few hours, to me tells me she didn't fall in by the bench.
That's how I think of it too. It's not this wide area. It's not like this huge river. It's a small slough is what we would call that, really. They're kind of like a slough type river, slow moving. Even if there was a little bit more of an undertow type of thing to it, but still, it's not very deep. If she would have fallen in, she should have been right within the vicinity of it, because she would have drowned. Like Peter Faulding said, she should have been right there, and they couldn't find her. Simple as that. They couldn't find her. So, to me, she should have been, if it happened there, they should have found her. With all their searching going on. Well, I mean, granted, it took him a few days. Like, he didn't join up. But I thought it was 3 or 4 days after the fact. Wasn't it 3 or 4 days? Someone said 10.
It might have been 10. I mean, what sticks in my mind with you saying that is that I'm pretty sure in the first few articles that I read, when I went back and checked everything from day one, I'm pretty sure they said we were in the water within 3 to 4 hours, and they searched 3 miles down, 1 mile upstream and 3 miles downstream. I'm pretty sure that's what it said. I can't.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So they covered quite a fair, area downstream. My biggest concern, before I read that, was that obviously the last eyewitness account was further upstream, and I thought, oh, maybe they started from the bench upstream predominantly, but apparently not. So,
I'm just gonna drop the link here. So I think I just dropped it a minute ago, but I forgot. Anyways, it's $1.99 if someone does want to become a member of It's a Criming Shame. And you can join our private Facebook group as well. For anyone that does become a member, you do have to email me at acrimingshame at gmail.com. Hold on, let me just quickly show you guys that banner, just for anyone that's become a member. Let me just throw it up there quickly at the very bottom. Let me just take down that message. There we go. So at the bottom there, you guys see acrimingshame at gmail.com. If you have become a member already, just make sure you email me your YouTube and your Facebook name if you do want to come into the private group. Okay, guys? That way I know that obviously I can attach that to you as the person. So that's the email right there, acrimingshame at gmail.com. Okay, so let me take that back off. And that's not hard to remember, I don't think. Okay, let's go back to the comments. Steve says, when Paul was being interviewed by Dan, Paul said at 10:50 we were about to leave, right? And then the phone rang, and it was the school. Who is we as I? Hey, that's not a complete sentence, Steve. Who is we as I thought he? Oh, I see. Who is we as I thought he was at home on his own? I don't recall the word we, but if he did, I'd have to go back and listen to that. I mean, yeah, I don't recall the word we. I've listened to that interview a few times, but I don't recall hearing the word we. That's right, we. I'd have to go back and listen to that, to be honest with you, in that interview, and see if he does say we. Because I mean, I remember the whole interview part about, he was about to get going, then he went upstairs and got changed because he normally goes to the gym and he just expected that Nicola would return type of idea. or that, you know, he would hear back from her. And when he actually left, it was quarter after. Was it? He called. I'm trying to remember now. It was. What, John, was it 11:15 or 11?
That's what I was thinking 11:15, but yeah, I'd have to go back and check it all.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why I had quarter two in my head. Let's just say it was 11:15. So he said he called the police on the way. And again, another confusing thing, because Penny, in the things that says that Penny said that she called the police in the papers, and you know, so nothing has really helped that way either, because I don't know where all that information's come, but it really does leave to boggle the brain when you read all these different things about, you know, Ron saying that Penny said to tie up the dog, and in the paper it's saying that Penny tied up the dog, and you know, just again, it just leads for a lot more speculation when all that happens. Or like the lady in red, which is Christine Bowman, that they had talked to her the first day, she said, according to the papers, and then when they were looking for her, she's like, well, what for? You guys had already talked to me, so I already told you. Yes, Curtis Media interviewed a gentleman who has a holiday caravan on Penny's land. Yeah, he said it was broken into during the time NB was missing, reported to LP.
Lancashire Police.
Lancashire Police.
The pennies dropped. Lancashire Police.
Yeah, that's when it clued into me too, John, what LP kept meaning. Lancashire Police, not treated as a crime scene. Right. I remember watching that on Curtis Media, because like I said, I watched that whole video myself on there. That was quite the interesting video. And again, I want to appreciate people like Maria Solares, I'm not sure, Solarz. Yeah. For Boots on the Ground and Curtis Media. Again, if it wasn't for those people that do that, sorry, my voice went for a sec. If it wasn't for those people that do that, it gives us an insight into at least some more, because like that footage at the river that Maria did, you know, that was really great. I mean, I would have liked to see not that it was Maria's fault, but I would have liked to see that body as they were trying to float, but she pulled out her camera after he had pushed himself over the weir or whatever. But it's stuff like that I personally truly appreciate. Boots on the ground stuff. You know, again, if I lived in some of these places where these crimes happen, I'd be there. I'd be there with my freaking thing too. I'd be going on those walks and doing boots on the ground for you guys, no problem. I would enjoy that stuff, to be honest with you. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Absolutely. Let's see. We're going to go another 8 minutes, guys, and then we're going to call it a night for this one. I'm just going to keep looking at far too many inconsistencies. High time will tell. The police made mistakes and blamed the public. Absolutely. I personally agree with you. Phone to 101 about videos and the operator dismissed is not relevant, but they definitely are.
I think that's another, reading that comment, that was something else that stuck in my mind, was that when the person came forward and said, I've seen, I don't know if it's I think it's the strange fisherman. Do you remember those were, you know, covering their faces and acting a bit shady, this, that, and the other? Apparently, the police didn't even contact that person to get a statement until like 9 days later, something like that. So even not just the CCTV gathering, but the witness statement gathering was slow. The press conferences were arrogant and incredibly defensive. You know, it's one thing after another.
It almost made them, it almost shamed the people that came forward with that information. That's how I felt. That's how I took it. Then people were going to be like, why am I going to go and give a tip if they're almost shaming me?
I mean, what I think as Rebecca Smith said, you know, there was a red van. I didn't think there was anything, you know, suspicious about a red van. There's and then and the fishermen, loads of people go fishing, you know, just making people sound out to be idiots, really.
Yeah, she's very condescending. I mean, her wording, like the words she uses sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Wayne Moore says, who would arrange a play date, listens into a work call, arranges a spa date. I don't know about the spa date, and I don't know about her tying up the dog. I've never heard
from memory, because as I say, I went back and checked all the newspaper articles from the first day. From memory, when I came across that part, I think it was her sister. They'd arranged a spa date together, but Nicola hadn't replied in the morning.
Oh, okay. Okay. And what about the tying up of the dog? Because I've heard people say that, but yet did we ever have proof that she tied up a dog? I don't think so.
No, but I mean, I think that's also quite an interesting point, because we don't know if she may have tried to tie her up, and then the dog got free, and by the time they found the dog, it was running loose. We don't know, do we? We don't know if she used a piece of that piece of string or whatever. We just,
Yeah.
we don't know.
Thank you, subscriber.
Thank you.
Miss Music Lurver. Thank you, Miss Music Lurver.
And to answer that question, to answer Wayne's question, I think I've discussed this before. If this was a case of her entering the water voluntarily and taking her own life, the only way that I can rationalize everything that's taken place that morning is because when I look back at not only her personal Facebook, but her business Facebook, which was online at the time, I don't know if it was a few months ago or a few years ago, she was discussing, or promoting, I should say, life insurance. And when I read that, I thought, okay, well, this is at least someone who has some knowledge of life insurance, probably understands the workings of life insurance. And when I did some research about if someone takes their life, how does that affect a payout, etc., etc., they do pay out if someone takes their own life, but there can be a delay of like 12 months. So then my thought process was, maybe she was trying to make it look like an accident. Maybe she was trying to do the work call, arrange a date, this, that, and the other, leave the phone on the bench, leave the dog in the field, because she knows that she's leaving behind a partner with two young children, and she wouldn't want that payout to be delayed. That's the only way that I could rationalize it, if it was a case that she did take her own life.
Yeah. Before they had found her, I thought to myself, well, like I said, maybe she just made it look like, made it look like something sinister happened to her, because she was.
Or could be the easy way that she just snapped and I get it. A lot of people don't have experience with people that have mental issues, mental disease. It's not disease, because I don't know. I can't say, I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't say disease, but mental issues, I guess, is the proper wording. And they can snap pretty quickly. Like I had one of my best friends. She has manic depression, and she is happy like this, and 2 minutes later she would be crying, trying to jump out the window. So people do have, and they go into those what I call psychotic episodes. So that can happen. Or she planned it from before. That's why that morning was so calm and so different, as Paul said it, that's why he remembered that day. So it could be a plan. I don't, I love when people say, oh no, but she planned, there's no way she could have done it herself, but why not? Why not? Just because she put a date, just because she said, her kids, I think that tells you that she wanted her kids to have plans after she was missing.
Yeah.
And you can see it from that point of view.
I have often wondered this, Pincho, if that video, it wasn't a video meeting. She wasn't on video, and she wasn't on speaker, meaning she was listening to it, but she wasn't on to be seen or heard. It was just on mute as she was listening to what was it from that. But there was always that piece of me that was like, that go wrong.
But there's also, and I need to find out the actual nuts and bolts of this, but her manager or her boss visited her, and I can't remember when this was, and apparently from what I was reading, he had to drive a fair distance to go and see her, which people found a little bit strange. But this happened, I don't know if it was the day before she went missing or a couple of days before, but her boss wanted to see her in person about something. Well, I'll need to go back and find the details for that.
I don't know that I recall that, actually.
Yeah. I'll have to go back and find the actual factual details on that.
Angel says, okay, so she snapped. So why didn't she put harness on the dog and
the word is snap. When they go into those mental, just Google somebody with manic depression, or somebody that goes into a psychotic episode. They become another person. Sometimes they can't think. I think, and she seemed like she was the depressive kind. So she probably thought, or this was just a plan, just to go You know, obviously, I mean, well, we have to wait until.
I think it becomes too is that, you know, most of us that are in here, you know, are all rational kind of thinkers. We're all trying to think rationally.
Yeah.
Whereas
But
when
the thing is, you
someone,
guys haven't seen, and I think it's hard to relate. And yeah, I get it. I think where most of the people are coming from is because they haven't seen it, and I think they're trying to relate what you would do as a person and say, how can I do this? But don't forget, and this is when, you know, when I used to tell my students, when everybody, they would say, but how can somebody kill, you know, 5 people? Because they're not like us. Those people don't think like us. And in this case, people that are depressed don't think normally. They do things that we wouldn't do normally, or they themselves wouldn't do normally.
Yeah. Lenny Helen says it was the night before they had a meeting in Garstang. That's what Lenny's saying.
Who had a meeting?
I think Lenny's talking about
Nicola Bulley's boss had a
Oh.
meeting or they had to meet in person, and apparently
did she attend?
Yeah, but he had to drive I think what people were saying online on this forum was that he had to drive a fair distance, and it was just seemed a little bit, I don't know, a little bit strange.
I just don't know anything about this part, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they had a meeting in Garstang. I think what was relevant was how far this guy would have had to have driven for that meeting to have taken place. That's what people found a little bit
interesting,
like as if it was really important, you know.
Yeah. Lenny, what did Lenny say there? Nicola. Lenny, where did you read or see this information? Can I ask? Just for something that I mean, if you do know, like I said, put it here, but if there's a link or something, if you can send it to acrimingshame at gmail.com. Mm-hmm.
They said that she drove about 80 miles. That's a lot.
I'll put that back here for a sec, Lenny.
That's like 100 and something kilometers.
Yeah.
Like
I had read it was about 80 miles, but not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure. I personally, like I said, that one's out of my ballpark there for knowing anything about that one. I just honestly hadn't heard that myself. But apparently John has.
Yes, I mean, again, that could be something regarding work. It could be her personal struggles. We don't know, do we? We don't know what that conversation entailed.
Let's see. Someone said her boss.
It could have been. It could have been that she went there. She was fine. Like I'm telling you, when you see it in person, it freaks you out, because I tell you, like my best friend is like that. And, I have sometimes, even though I have seen it, and it's hard for me because I don't know sometimes what to say or what to do. And she snaps in seconds.
Yeah. Like kind of Pinch was saying there, like she could get a warning or whatever. I mean, there was, like I said, a part of me that wondered, did she have a bad meeting on that phone call, and she was already having maybe a crap day. I can't help but think that everything was ready for breakfast.
Yeah, that's the thing. Up to that point, I was open to anything. But when he went back and he said that was the one thing that stood out to him, was that everything was less chaotic and things felt different for him. I was like, wow. Well, plus, I think she planned it.
Plus, again, the whole.
But then, equally speaking, could a husband or someone, if let's just play devil's advocate here, let's say he was involved, whatever, is that not something that you would say to give people the impression that something was different, and not so much say, well, she was very down, this, that, and the other? Would you not think people like yourself, a lot of people would pick up on that, think, hang on a minute?
No, it would, but also and I understand what you're saying, but I mean, I looked at also, because he said it in a video, so I looked at the body language, and it seemed consistent to what he was saying. Up to that point, I was even kind of doubting him, because I was like, because up to that point, I had never seen him without a hat. So I was like, oh, I don't know. And I don't like him. I think he's not a likable person. And just, sometimes, that's how humans are. Either you like a person or you don't like this person. And Paul himself is a person that is not likable. And that's when I told you guys that's called the Othello effect. That because I am not likable, people are going to say, they're going to say, oh, he did it. And that's how I went in. And I went in saying, I think he might have something to do. Until Sonny said, no, there's an interview that you can see his forehead. And then when I saw that interview, that really changed my mind. And I said, no, this guy really didn't have anything to do with that.
Right.
But
Again,
to me, he seemed honest when he said it.
Right.
and that's how me and Adam felt about it as well. Adam, when I say Adam, you guys, it's Aspen Connor. I have to switch because I keep saying Adam, even though I should try to say Aspen more. So, but yeah, again, you know, just again, for anyone that is watching now or watching maybe later, is that Alexza is a handwriting expert, a body language expert, as well as a forensic profiler. And so that's the work that she did for like 16 years. And, you know, again, she's trained to look for those things. And I mean, personally, I always felt that Paul was being genuine in how he was talking myself. And, you know, I don't know, like I like that one is very controversial because there's so many people that looked at Paul, like you said, and be like, yeah, you know, I don't really like this guy. There's something shady about him. He's, you know, what took him so long to leave, you know, some things that, you know, when someone just feels it, something just doesn't sit right with somebody. But when I was personally watching it, I was like, yeah, I don't really think that he had anything to do with it so much as the bottom line with this case is that I just feel like I don't believe in that she just fell where the bench area was. I don't believe that because I just think that she should have been found. She would have been found. And there was nothing. Like they literally had nothing. They told you they had nothing, but just for the fact that that's what they believed happened. And you could see them backpedaling. You know, as time was going on, you could see them backpedaling. And that's why Emma White was saying, you know, like, you can't just go by a hypothesis. This is a real person. You know, we need to explore other avenues and all this stuff. And it was because of how that was construed to the public. I really do hope that they've learned a lesson, the Lancashire police, from how they dealt with Nicola's case for the future. But yeah, so I would just, you know, when it comes to any case, honestly, I would just like anyone like to know the truth, you know, not some, you know, conspiracy theories that, you know, in a sense that are just like way far out there. Some of them really are, but whatever, each to their own thoughts. But I just would like to know the truth, regardless of what happened, if there was third party involvement, no third party involvement, whatever, suicide, unsuicide, you know, or she fell in and had an accident, but somewhere else. It's just hard to believe that it was just an accident that happened in front of the bench. It's just a very, like I said, mysterious case for something that should have been solved or within a day, but they literally couldn't give you anything at all. You know,
I think that's where I stand, Sonny. I'm still open to the possibility of third-party involvement. The only thing I can say categorically is I don't believe she fell in by the bench. I don't believe it was an accident. And I find trying to explain her entering the water voluntarily almost equally as hard as third-party involvement, because she must have left that area and no one's seen her. So, yeah, it's just a mystery.
Yeah. You know, and if there's anyone that does want to join a live with regard to Nicola Bulley's case, whether it's on this channel or perhaps if John doesn't mind, somebody that has more of the third party one, I just want to make sure that you're sane, normal headed somewhat. On this channel, you don't have to be so much. But if there is anyone, you can email acrimeandshame@gmail.com, because there are a lot of people out there that are very passionate that would like to have a voice themselves, perhaps on a live, because they don't have their own channel. But if there is anyone, then you just got to email acrimeandshame@gmail.com and let us know. I think Paul is on the spectrum and looks suspicious, but my gut says it's not him, despite it looking suspicious. I think the police made mistakes and tried to cover it up with MH focus. With MH focus. What's MH mean? Brain fart.
MH. Mental health.
Mental health. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Right. We're
I'm
playing
good
that
at this
game.
game.
Yeah, we were playing that game. If you guys don't follow Delphi, you guys should follow Delphi, and then you guys should get to know all those initials. When people have like the same initials and stuff like that, you guys want to get mind warped, you just follow Delphi with initials, because you're gonna have at least 90 people, and people are gonna put initials all day long in the thing, and your brain starts to go, so does JP mean Jason Palladino? Does it mean, because there's so many people that have the same name. But anyways, I think the police mistake and try to cover it up with MH Focus. Well, again, I keep going back to that one. Time will tell. Is that it wasn't so much the police. The police put out the information, but it was coming from the family. The mental health issues that was coming from. I mean, obviously something happened on the 10th. That's why they made us aware of that, and obviously they were silly enough to. Actually idiotic enough to put out the stuff about the alcohol and menopause. I remember seeing a comment where someone replied to it saying, I take offense to that. Basically a female, right? Saying, I take offense to that, using menopause as one of the reasons. But if you're a male and you don't understand menopause, when women have their monthlies and stuff like this, and any female that's a woman, not everyone has the same symptoms, but some people really are like, they go totally cranky, miserable, and they have what do you want to call it? It's almost like having a demon exercise your body, basically, in there for some women. The menopausal stuff. It's definitely a hormone changer for sure. And for guys that aren't aware of it, it's really a true thing that women do. Some people exert, like I said, a demon inside of them and stuff like that when that time or menopausal stuff comes along. And it can very much be depressing. I used to dread, I don't have it my monthly anymore, but I used to dread when my monthly would come, okay? Because and any, like I said, guy here, even though you're probably going, I don't want to hear about that. I don't care. I'm going to tell you anyway. But I used to dread it because it was like 7 days, okay? Now, 7 days, granted, my twin sister, hers only lasted like 3 days, and I'd be pissed off because why did I get the 7-day cycle? But anyways, the second day I dreaded because I always knew that it was going to be a very, we'll just call it, like a river run through it type of thing day. Yeah. And so I personally hated and dreaded monthly. Like, I went through life up until, thank God I don't get it anymore. I went through life dreading that. And like I said, when you have menopause, like, I would be like, don't talk to me. I'm kind of cranky. I can tell I am, but that was just me mildly. But there's some people that really just kind of like after birth can get really depressed and really have, these different things going on. So I can kind of see maybe why they perhaps, like I said, the family is the one that gave the information. They gave that information for a reason. They wanted the public to know, but the Lancashire police were just idiotic enough to actually give us that information when it was truly none of our business. And it actually compounded onto the theories instead of trying to sedate it like they were trying to do. Idiots. But anyways, so meaning for men that don't know, honestly, to have depression and stuff like that while being menopausal and stuff, it's a real thing. It's a true thing. But most men won't understand it because it's not, you don't have a female body. Becky Smith will take her time is what she does, and she's good at it. They know way more than you think. Well, we know that.
I don't even think that's the point, though, Sunny. The point that we're trying to make is the attitude that they came out with, and the way that the public were treated. I'm not.
Oh no.
I mean, we can sit here all day and pick holes in their investigation. I mean, it's pretty evident that there's failings there. But let alone, let's just say that the investigation was flawless. Even if it was, the press conferences were I think disgraceful, particularly with Becky Smith. The sort of attitude that she came out with just doesn't wash with people.
Yeah. Well, my point there was simply that that someone could easily be in a depressive mode, even if Nicola Bulley looks healthy and that nobody but Nicola Bulley knows what her mental health state is at the time or
Right.
what she's going through. And again, people can do those things where they make everything look normal and go, and like I said, go and take their own life and stuff like that. It does happen all the time. There's so many cases where people do this stuff. So it's not like it's out of the question, like other things, but just meaning, again, they brought that information out. So to me, it was because they wanted the public to understand that Nicola Bulley's mental health was, obviously what they felt was something going on with her. Hence why the January 10th information as well. That's the whole point of that information. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to that. They put that information out there for that reason, to let us know that she was, not thinking clearly, and
Thank
she
you
might.
for subscribing, Neil.
Yeah. Hey, Neil. Neil's got us. I thought that was this soccer ball. Looks like a movie reel. I'm not sure.
Software is a soccer ball.
Yeah.
It is a soccer ball.
Yeah. Ron did not give a time. Yeah, I really want to go kick that reporter back in the butt for some of those questions that he really could have gotten. I mean, I get it when I don't know, but it looks like that whole interview was pretty much set up. Like, hey, just pretend like you're walking, and oh, hey, hey, aren't you the guy that we talked to yesterday? But regardless, there's that guy, our interviewer, the reporter guy. I mean, he missed a golden opportunity to get some more information out of that guy that day. And it, it's not his fault, but it just meaning when you look at it, you're like, dude, you literally could have asked him, like, okay, so who were you with? What time did this exactly happen? Like, I mean, they did say about 9:15. He's like, oh no, my wife or whatever. But meaning there was definitely some questions there that he could have asked him that would have been like cleared a few things up, But instead, actually, he made people go, what? What do you mean? What do you mean Benny called your wife and said to tie up the dog? And, so who was first? And was the phone on the ground first and then it was laid on the bench? Who knows if that was a thing as well. I mean, not like the Lancashire police are going to tell us that, of course. But anyways, last few questions here, guys, and then we're going to head off. Males are 3 times more likely to take their own life than females. So the menopause thing is not a likely cause of suicide. I'm going to have to disagree unless you're an expert in that field.
I think the menopause was just a way of them saying she was having some mental issues. I think they didn't want to say mental issues, maybe out of respect for her kids, or maybe whatever, or maybe they didn't know. I think they just used menopausal because that wouldn't infer she was having some issues, some mental, some emotional issues. So that's, don't you think? What do you when I say menopausal? What do you think? On balance, having that stable.
I feel like there obviously was something going on with Nicola. The family knew it. Nicola, I'm sure, knew it. Whether that contributed to what happened to Nicola, who knows? But I mean, like I said, they released. There's nothing more you can say directly enough that they released that information because they wanted the public to know that she obviously, was having some issues going on. And because they couldn't find her in the water right there, they wanted the public to know, like, hey, like, look, maybe she did just walk away, and that's hence why they said in the interview with the mom, the dad, and sister, Nicola, if you're watching this right now, and you could tell it was like, just know, like, basically, like, just come home, So the family knew that there was obviously something going on with Nicola. Not to mean that she was like way out there, but again, sometimes it would just really depend what it takes to trigger a person, to be honest with you. And let's see here. Just me 23. The dog could get underneath the gate in style, would have followed Nicola unless it was tied or held. Penny said it was loose. start with Penny, where the CCTV was off. We don't know if it's true. Well, we don't really know anything because we don't have any footage, and just we have mixed up interviews with different things saying. It really just comes down to using your own common sense and try to think of what seems logical at the end of the day, because there's nothing like besides what they know. There's nothing else. All I know is that they did a big flubber on her case from the get-go, when they should have deemed it as a crime scene and then lowered it down after that. And that would just be like a typical thing you would, like Alexza said earlier, like you would think you would do, make sure that, okay, look, we got to, we got this, obviously this weird incidents where the dog's found, like there's, it still blows me away that that didn't happen, to be honest with you. What does the panel think of the final statement from the family? Okay, this will be.
I guess that's regarding. I guess the slamming of Sky News and the newspaper, wasn't it, about contacting them and this, that, and the other. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no one knows what state of mind they're in, how they're feeling. And I think when we create content, we try and keep that at the forefront of our minds. Or at least I do. I'm sure Sammy and Aspen does as well. And I think naturally, I mean, when this sort of event takes place, there is a lot of finger pointing, particularly against partners. I mean, that's commonplace, isn't it, with cases like this? So, I mean, to hear that what was said in that last press conference about the sort of interrogation of Paul and slamming Sky News for contacting him and this, that, and the other, it's to be expected, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I mean, even again, then though, Sunny, even in that press conference, just the way it was put across, I just sat there just thinking,
what? Exactly. The way it was put across, I was actually a little bit offended by it all, to be honest with you, when I listened to it, because I thought to myself, you know what? You don't ask the public for all their help, and to do this and do that, and then turn around and slam the public, like how that came across.
Right.
I thought it was completely ignorant and rude. And like I said, so it kind of makes you think like when you want help next time, don't come crying to us, because if that's the way you feel about it, because the thing is that it's a give and take thing, public versus them wanting help. So I think that people obviously need to be sensitive. And I think that perhaps that reporter felt like they had a special kind of like key to them, to the family, because they had been, covering it and, been talking to them so much. I just found it a little bit offensive for sure. And I thought to myself, you know what, I get it that a family member has, you've come to know now has passed and stuff like that, but still, it's a two-way street. When you're asking for help, you can't pick and choose every little thing in that. And, it just came off quite abrasive, to be honest, I thought.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it didn't help that the lady that was giving that speech looked like she was a snotty type, like, when somebody has like this small little face and a little pointy nose like that, and she just kind of came off like she was like, she wasn't a very warm human being. Not the way she gave that speech anyway. It was, yeah. Anyways, you guys, please give this video a like and a share. Any of the links for John's channel, Maria's channel that has the river wire footage in it is in the link of the description of this video. Again, yeah, thank you guys so much. And next time we do Nicola Bulley, it will be on John's channel on the crime scene to courtroom. If you're not subscribed to him, of course, which I'm sure most of you are, right? Yeah. And
they better be.
Yeah. And Aspen Connor, your guests seem not very interested. You are the only one talking almost. I think that we got, no, I don't feel like that. Maybe when you came in. Aspen is, of course, part of the It's a Crime Museum channel, but he yawned hella.
That is fair. I did.
Yeah, and And John over there, well, he should be in bed pretty much right now. I think no, that they've. If you go back and watch the whole thing, if you haven't been, I can talk though. Don't get me wrong. I could hold a live all by myself, easy. Yeah. Anyways, the guests are very interested, and the friends are very interested in this case. They are, even if it came across to you that they weren't. Are you guys interested? Come on, before I whip and beat you. Let's go.
Yeah, very interested.
No, of course we
Yeah.
are. I think it's because it's towards the end, and we already know it's the end. We're all like,
yeah,
you
exactly.
should watch us like on a regular night, like at 1 o'clock, 2 a.m. We're very live.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for all subscribing again. Can I just remind you guys again, if you guys could check out the video with Rhys Rogers, the gentleman that's missing from Scotland. He's been missing for over a month now, and same kind of idea as the Nicola Bulley case, where you don't know if it was a third party that possibly took his own life or possibly something really bad happened to him. Don't know, but it's a case across the pond there in Scotland that if you guys could just share it to your social media, just so that other people, who might have seen him or even after, right? When the story can take hold and people can push it out there, again, it just brings more awareness to help the partner and the father of two out.
Right.
Very devastating, just like Nicola Bulley. You guys, thank you guys so much for subscribing, for joining, for watching. Again, if you could please give it a thumbs up. It helps us definitely out for the algorithm, and it helps again the other people. Oh, now you're all. See, now he's all alive. You guys, they're not scared now, are they? Hella,
Because I yawned again.
We're used to doing lives at 6:30. Usually by this time, Adam has had a nap in, and John's usually in bed by now, typically. And Alexza, I mean, she was having a rough day. Oh yeah. No excuses. Yeah. Yeah, there's John. Oh yeah, gotta go.
I told you, now I'm tired.
No, thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys have a blessed day.
Night.
Yeah, take care. Good night, guys.
Thank you, John. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're welcome
thank
Thank you,
anytime.
Alexza.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
See you soon.
Bye.